Hey guys, welcome back to Deepak's Daily Reading. So let's continue with part 2 of The Content Machine by Dan Norris. So let's keep going. So Dan Norris has this concept of an ambassador list, which I really like, that he's used to help drive promotion. So if you focus on building an email list or if you focus on building an audience and you're able to corral that audience into one place, which could be the email list, you can then fundamentally ask anyone if they'd like to be part of an ambassador list where you can be honest and say, from time to time, I'll ask for your support in helping promote something. And in exchange, if any of you guys need support within this group, I'm always happy to help and try and support you as well. So this ambassador list would be the people that would go an extra mile to help you with promotions. So that makes a ton of sense. I should do that. We should do that as a business. So Lydia, let's discuss how we can look at doing something like that. There's quite a lot of stuff to discuss on the info marketing side. We need to have someone who sits and just really thinks about that strategically. So who would be best placed within the business to just think about those things, Lydia? But the ambassador list is really important because these would also constitute the whole, I think it's Gary Kelly, 1000 True Fans and power users as such. So I think that that's something that's incredibly important that everybody should think about. What can you do from a ambassador list perspective in terms of building your true fans? And to be honest with you guys, for reference, your ambassador list could be 3 people. But if 3 people tweet about you, that's 3 more people than 0. And if 3 people write reviews on your Amazon book reviews, that's 3 more than 0. So don't underestimate how small your list is. Again, even if it's just 1, it's still fine. It's still completely fine. So I really, really do love this, and there's no reason why I shouldn't have an ambassador list right now. And I think that everyone should add an ambassador list. So if you have a general newsletter, I always advocate, if you're an entrepreneur, to build one anyway, in general, to have something of value to give to people. Then you can add it to your email sequences and have a specific reference point when you say, would you like to join my ambassador membership, my ambassador group or list? It could be quid pro quo. You could build a paid community, of course, and there's other bits and pieces that you can do around it. But fundamentally, having a ambassador group or list, I think, is incredibly powerful. And Dan Norris talks about how he was able to then build a list of 350 people, and from that he'd get 150 tweets, 100 reviews on Amazon, and it skyrocketed a lot of the things that he did based upon his original bestseller 7 Days Startup, which from a book point kind of put him on the map. It's a book I've yet to read. I do want to read it, and I am going to read it. I might start reading it next, in fact. But yeah, I think that this is really, really important. So figuring out if you want to do a Facebook group or an email list is something to decide. But in his Facebook group, then it creates community and people communicate between themselves because they're all centered around being a fan of Dan Norris and the content he produces. So I really do like that idea, and I think that I've tried doing stuff like this and I've just always failed at it. Again, everything's a question of focus. Where should you put your focus on? And I think that what we need to look at is how could we do the 1% within this. So Lydia, let's discuss building the ambassador group request. And I think we need to just have a content strategy plan that we think about based upon the info education side of it. So I think that's really important. The next thing to consider is that why not have half of our content on Pearl Lemon produced by external writers? It's really just a case of really nailing down the content requirements from them and systematizing that a little bit more. And then we have a Write For Us page, I believe. We could put that onto Pearl Lemon Leads as well. We could begin to get half of our content produced by external writers potentially in terms of really great blog content. So probably building a system around that, I think that would be fantastic. So that would be something that we should really, really consider in terms of a process. I know that we played with it, toyed with it, and it's difficult, of course, to get the actual quality of writers, but you can build a process to systematize and support this. It's just a matter of time, energy, and effort. So Viva, can you really look at, well, where's the Write For Us page? What about all of the emails where people say, I'd love to write a guest post? Can we put them through a system and then have them begin to produce content and just see? But we should really look at what we could do around that, and feel free to come to me with any thoughts that I have. We get requests all the time, but it's not centralized, systematized. And I think that if you do have an audience or blog, that's something worth considering. The next thing is now going back to the concept of promotion, and promotion begins with having a killer piece of content to actually promote. So that would be, for example, as it stands, and there'll be others no doubt, but Melanie or myself that could build a piece of content and then have a content promotion framework around it, so that then we can look at what can we do in terms of reaching out to journalists, reaching out to influencers. So for example, if you write a post in detail about SEMrush, maybe SEMrush will retweet it. If you write a post about Ahrefs will retweet it. Google Analytics, Twitter, and so forth. So I don't know that we do that in any event with any of the content that we produce. So we should just reach out to, or build a relevancy list, if you will, every time we put together a piece of killer content. And again, it's just about creating proper processes around this. And if we put a proper process in place, and I'm very, very bad at documenting processes, and Charles, as to your systems building, I think that that's something that I really, as you figure out some of the web dev side, I've got a lot of things in my head. I've got a lot of processes in my head, and I really need to have a better way of documenting them, because I do record videos, but they get lost amongst Pearl Lemon unlisted YouTube channel with hundreds of videos and different bits and bobs. So I haven't really found a good resolution to that, and maybe it's just inherently difficult in general for a company, because processes change, they evolve, they adapt, and you think of new things after, and obviously it's just a case of rigorous documentation. If you've not done it, it's not obvious. So yeah, that's just something I'm having challenges with. But building a content promotion plan, I think, is a really powerful thing that companies should consider. So there you have it, guys. These are all of my insights from The Content Machine by Dan.
Hey guys, it's Deepak Shukla here. I am huge on listening to books on Audible. So if you're interested in getting all of the insights as I discover them through the course of all the books I read, please do comment, like, and of course subscribe, so that you get notified every time we release a video. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you soon.